Did I hear someone say Christian Cage? Oh. Did I hear someone say Toronto?
Yeah.
Because Toronto happens to be my hometown.
Oh, yeah, well, we know.
And I happen to be going to Toronto to kick Christian Cage's teeth down his throat.
Hell
so
yeah.
one more massive memory for AEW, one more massive memory for TSN, one more massive memory for Toronto before we win the Stanley Cup. Yeah, I said it.
Oh,
yeah, I said it.
He said it.
I said it.
And now he's here, Adam Copeland, less than 48 hours before AEW Dynamite hits Toronto. Here he is, Toronto's own Adam Copeland. And that very bold prediction by you, my friend. I got to ask you about that in just a little bit. We're gonna wait on that a little bit.
We'll get there.
You've been in AEW now for about 6 months.
Yeah.
Made the decision to jump over. How's it going so far? How you liking it?
I'm having a blast.
Yeah.
I really do. I feel like, so at this stage of my career, you know, I'm 30 years deep. I'm 50 years old. Actually, I'm more than 30 years deep now. Wow. But I looked at the AEW roster.
Yeah.
And I just saw a blank canvas. And for me, what we do is storytelling. And I love to tell stories, whether that's in a wrestling ring, whether that's on Percy Jackson, whatever it is. I just enjoy telling stories. And I looked at it and I went, okay, Samoa Joe, never wrestled him. Swerve Strickland, never wrestled him. Hangman Adam Page, Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay, FTR, Young Bucks. All of these guys that I've never crossed paths with.
Right.
So I thought that seems like it would be a lot lot of fun.
Has it given you energy? Has it
Yes.
sort of rejuvenated you in a way?
Absolutely. I'm never really wanting for energy. Like
Right.
Usually when I walk in an arena, when that music hits, it's like I could chew through concrete.
Right.
But it's definitely been invigorating just to have like all of these possibilities, and then to start the whole thing off with, you know, my best friend for 40 years. We met in the 6th grade up in Orangeville. And
so wild.
And Wednesday we'll be in Coca-Cola Coliseum facing each other for the TNT title. And like, I still have to pinch myself sometimes to really fully understand what this whole ride has been. But it's been a blast.
Well, let's talk about that. Like, you wrestled in Toronto in August of last year. That was your last WWE match.
Yep.
And right after the show, you kind of talked about how this might be the last time you'd wrestle in front of your hometown fans.
Yeah.
And now here you are Wednesday night. You get to wrestle in front of them again. It's got to feel really good.
It really does, because even that night, I wasn't sure.
Right.
I truly didn't know. I didn't have an answer. And I think everybody wanted an answer, but I just didn't have it yet.
Yeah.
And I knew I'd need to get home. I'd need to kind of sit with it. And I really wanted to talk to my ladies, you know, all 3 of them. And it was my daughters. They said it, and it was my oldest lyric. She went, "Go have fun with Uncle Jay."
Yeah.
I went, "You're right."
Yeah.
And here we are.
Yeah, and here we are.
And here we are.
And
We're not going to have fun Wednesday, though.
No,
it's going to get ugly.
Oh, I can't wait.
It's going to get ugly.
This is going to be amazing. Literally, our entire crew is going to be there. So I'm not sure how we're producing a show, but that's not important. Before I ask you about this past Saturday's Collision show in Ottawa, I want to show you the other cities that AEW is hitting across Canada. This is a massive tour. So you were in Ottawa.
Yeah.
You're heading to Toronto this Wednesday.
Yeah.
Back to Quebec City for Dynamite next week. Then you're in London, Ontario. Then a break. Then you head out west.
Yeah.
I mean, this is pretty wild, right? Like, you really get to see the country that you were born in and raised in.
Yeah, I always enjoy coming back, you know, and one thing I've always said about Canada that I absolutely just love about Canada, I can be in St. John's, I can be in Victoria, and I'm going to be treated like a hometown boy.
Right.
You know, there's just, nobody else can say that. Like, the guys from the States, they'll have like their home state.
Sure, yeah.
You know, or their home city. I got a home country.
That's right.
You know, it's always good to get back up here, and also to get to see friends that I have throughout the country that I don't get to see that often, because I don't get out to Calgary that often. I get out to Vancouver quite a bit.
Right.
But yeah, I love coming back. There's just something to be said for the feel when you come back to your home.
You mentioned Calgary. Like, how did you have love for Stampede Wrestling growing up, all that stuff?
Yeah, Stampede and just, you know, watching Owen Hart there.
Yeah.
And then watching him in WWF and WWE, and then getting to wrestle him.
That's wild.
Just
wrestling your heroes, basically.
I know,
Yeah.
and I've been able to do that, which, again, still pretty insane to me, to think like I'm up here with these people. Like, even when I first came to AEW, the storyline involved Sting, and we had never rubbed elbows.
That's amazing.
We were friends, And but we'd never shared the same workspace or the same space in the ring together. And to feel that and to feel that energy and just be a small part of that, such a blast.
They say you never want to meet your heroes, but when you actually work with someone like Sting, is it weirdly, even though you said you've been in the business for like 3 decades, and like you face a guy who's been in the business for longer, is it kind of intimidating? Is it different?
No, it's just pure joy.
Right.
Because, you know, he's been wrestling 37 years. I think I'm at 32. So we're still in the same ballpark.
Yeah.
But it was more than anything, it was meeting a guy like that, talking to a guy like that. When you talk to Sting, you walk away with a smile on your face.
Right.
And that is how you should carry yourself. That's how you should conduct yourself. And he's a great, you know, huge billboard for how you should get in, do your thing, and get out.
That's fair. That's fair. Can I ask you about, you were retired for 9 years.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
It's a long time.
You're almost the Gary Roberts of wrestling. You go away, you're retired. You have
Next
the neck,
too.
Right?
Yeah.
You get the neck fusion surgery. You've only wrestled here a couple of times since you returned, though. You know, so that's got to be even more special.
So I think this will be my 12th match since I've been back. This is the most I've wrestled since I've come back from that retirement.
Right.
And I found that by wrestling a little bit more often, it's actually easier.
Nice.
Because my body stays going, oh, you're treating me like an idiot. Got it. Instead of, why are you now treating me like an idiot after 4 months?
Yeah.
Now it's like every 2 weeks. Okay, I got it. We're still stupid.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
So we have that conversation with each other.
I like that.
body and I.
Gary Roberts probably has that conversation every day as
Absolutely.
well.
And I can't say I didn't dip into some Gary Roberts in training to come back to.
Yes.
And just kind of that mindset.
He's an inspiration to all of us in so many different ways. I got to ask you about Saturday night in Ottawa.
Yes.
You mentioned you're in a feud with your childhood friend, your former tag team partner, Christian Cage. You're going to be fighting him Wednesday. It's an I Quit match for the AEW TNT Championship. What can fans expect?
It's going to be brutal.
Yeah.
It's going to be ugly.
Why are you threatening with this? What is going on with this? Tell me exactly what this is.
Well, that's Spike. So Spike is a little instrument of affection that I cooked up. So it's basically a 2x4 that I've whittled into almost like a cricket bat.
Fair enough.
And attached really long nails to it.
Kind of a Negan meets Hacksaw Jim Duggan kind of vibe.
A little bit Mick Foley with Barbie. There's a lot of that going on there.
That's
although
fair.
I would totally smoke Negan. Come on.
As an aside, you mentioned that you're going for the TNT title. I feel like AEW's got to add a TSN title. Thoughts?
Ooh, wow. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe I could be the inaugural TNT TSN champion and merge them.
Let's make it happen. Let's talk
like
about
it.
Come
I
on.
like it.
You turned 50 just after debuting in AEW.
Yep.
I'm about to turn 52. We talked about it. It's like, man, we've hit the middle stage here. We're halfway home.
Middle of a century.
We're halfway home. It's wild, actually. How does it feel? How does it feel to you?
That's assuming we're going to live to 100, bud.
I don't know if that's going to happen.
I don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I always say middle-aged and crazy. It's like, yeah, if I'm 100. No, but I will say 40's easily my favorite decade.
Right.
And the 50s have just rolled right into that. I feel like I'm at a stage of life where I've accomplished. I feel like, I don't know, a sense of peace.
Nice.
And a sense of happiness and joy. Like I watch my girls, and I think having kids really then also grounds you.
Right.
Because wrestling is an industry where it's supposed to be all about you, and you have to make it all about you. And it can be, you can lose sight of things, you know, especially with the grind, you know. But I had the girls, well, I didn't have them. I don't want to shortchange Beth.
Fair.
Sorry, Beth, you had them.
Not even biologically possible.
I just helped you breathe. That was it. But having them, oh my gosh, it changed everything. And at first, it made me immediately realize that I could commit murder. Because if you touch my kids, I'm going to bite your throat out. So there's that.
Who would ever do that for this guy's kids? I mean, it would make zero sense, but yeah.
But it really, it changed everything.
I love it.
You know, every choice I make now, it's going to go through them. And we're going to sit down and talk about it. And that's why I'm in AEW.
I love that they were so into you doing it.
Yeah.
You know, they've got to be so proud. It's got to be exciting for them to see you perform.
They get a kick out of it. They really do. They understand what it is. You know, we've had the talk with them, but they also know there's fallout because they see me try and get out of bed in the morning.
Right.
You know, so they know there's a cost.
Yeah.
You know, so they really enjoy when, like I said, if I'm on Percy Jackson, they love that because they know, oh, you're not going to get hurt there.
Right. That's fair. Let's talk about the Leafs. How are you feeling about the Leafs this year? Do you feel you predicted boldly with RJ and Renee that they will win the Cup this year? Do you truly believe that?
I do. I believe anybody can win the Cup. If you make it to the playoffs, I truly believe anybody can win the Cup. And as we talked about earlier, St. Louis proved that.
Yeah.
I truly think if you get a hot goalie and you get some really gnarly defensemen and some power forwards and just some greasy dudes in the corner, I feel like you got a shot.
Yeah.
And I said at the beginning of the season, with all of the additions and everything, I don't think they're going to have the point total. I don't think they're going to be necessarily the juggernaut that they have been. I think they'll probably, you know, they'll get into the playoffs, but I think they can do more damage because of guys like McMahon, like coming out of nowhere. But also he plays a little ugly, and Benoit plays a little ugly, and McCabe added some legitimate guys that add some of that aspect, some snot.
There it is. That's the Brad Treliving word.
Snot, some sticky snot.
There it is.
But I also feel like they added it at the right time this year instead of at the trade deadline.
Right.
Now you got an entire season to gel, and I think that's all that was happening with Bertuzzi. I think that's all that was happening with some of these guys is you're playing with a whole new team.
Yeah.
Of course that's going to take time. And if you get somebody at the trade deadline, is there going to be that opportunity to gel and become that?
It's probably a little like wrestling, right? The chemistry probably doesn't happen in the first match. Maybe
it can sometimes, and when it does, you go, oh. But sometimes it takes some work. It takes some getting used to each other. Your timing, your movements. Okay, that guy moves that way, so I'm going to pass over here.
Right.
Should hit the stick. That's what I feel happened this year, and I feel like they're all kind of coming together at the right time. Well, you know, I'm so happy to see Bertuzzi now starting to dump some in there, and you just feel the relief from him too.
Yeah.
You know? I just enjoy watching them because it makes me feel like I'm at home. And
you were saying you love to watch back in North Carolina.
I watch the Canadian feeds. I have to.
Yeah.
Nothing against the American feeds.
No.
But, oh my God,
but it's
they're
inferior.
atrocious.
You can say it. You're in a comfortable place here. This is your safe spot.
I got to watch the Canadian feed.
That's why we like Adam so much. And Adam's going to stick around. We're going to have our top 10 later. Adam's going to help me with it. It's top 10 drink moments. How do you feel about that?
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
That'll be later in the show.
All right. Do we? No.
We have. I forgot